What's going on, everybody? Tingo here, and welcome back to another PC build. This one is going to be for my son. It's not as extravagant as mine, but it's going to be basically the same concept, except for instead of it being Intel like mine was, it's going to be an AMD Ryzen PC build. So a little bit about this, starting with the motherboard. I'm using the AMD Ryzen X370 Killer SLI AC, which is right here. It is Wi-Fi, because he needs Wi-Fi for upstairs, because I could run an Ethernet cable upstairs, but it wouldn't be the prettiest sight in the world. So I'm just going to keep it Wi-Fi for right now and hope for the best. So I am going with AMD Ryzen 5. It's a 2600. And then I'm going to keep it with RGB fans. I'm using 3 LL140 RGB Corsair fans. I was going to go with 4, but as you can see here, I did purchase a different computer case for him. The other one that's down here, it was just too old and wouldn't be able to fit everything in it. But after getting this, I just got this today. Today is Wednesday the 9th, I believe it is. Yes, 9th. Upon looking at this, the back fan won't fit 140 millimeter. I'm hoping the top does. I didn't check that yet. Yeah, the top should be okay. So I'll keep the case fan that's in it right now. Looks like it might be a 120 in the back. Take the 120 off the top, change it out with the 140, and then 2 140s for the front. So with that being said, I'm going with the same setup I did with mine. I'm using the Corsair Commander Pro and then the RGB hub as well. So that way I can link all the power and RGB up together. Each fan will be in sync with it, just like how mine was. So that takes care of all that. I'm going with the MSI Armor MK2 graphics card. Should be powerful enough for what he needs. And then for power, I'm using the Corsair RM650X. Then for the RAM here is the G.Skill Flare X. I did, before I got the RAM for my computer, I didn't do the proper research. And I bought this for mine, and it wouldn't work because this is AMD RAM. It wouldn't work with Intel. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going with AMD for this build here. So that way the money I spent on this RAM, which was quite a bit, doesn't go wasted. And then I'm going with a Western Digital black 1 terabyte mechanical drive for his gaming needs and programs. And then it's just a, I think I went with a 280, let me check here, 240 gig SSD SanDisk for his operating system. And then since this case, you'll see it in a little bit, it has red in it. It's a black and red theme. So black and red graphics card. The motherboard isn't black and red, but it's black and white. With a little bit of silver on it, so that'll still tie in pretty decent. But I went ahead and got some Antec cables that are also red and black to fit the theme of things. So I will try to go ahead and do a little bit more of the build in the video, more than what I did on mine. I'm going to try to, and we'll go from there. So right now I'm going to clean off this table and keep the motherboard, processor, power supply, and do an out of the box test, which means I got to take the case apart. That way I can get the power supply in there. And that way I can actually use my wristband here. So the static band. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And oh, I also forgot. It did come with 2 SATA cables, just like mine did. Once again, it has one that has 2 straight ends on it. I don't know if you guys can really see that. Let me get a little bit closer for you here. It comes with the one that has the 2 straight ends on it. And then it comes with one that has the 190-degree end on it. So if I can't use the 90-degree bend on a, on this build like I couldn't on mine, I still have 2 of the SATA cables that I had purchased out of that pack of 3. I used the one on my build, but I do have 2 straight end SATA cables to utilize if need to be. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and clear off this table here and try to get the out of the box test done and hope that it all works out. So I'm going to do that, and I'll see you guys back when I'm getting the testing done. Alright, so see you in a little bit. Alright guys, so that took a little bit longer than I expected. Got the case tore apart. I took off the top fan. This is the plug right here for the back fan. That should be able to plug into the Commander Pro for the power. So I don't need to actually attach it to the motherboard itself. I got all the cables ran out. Right here, I got the 24 pin, got the CPU. And the good thing about this case, I don't think I went over it, this is the NXT H500. If you're doing a first build, I recommend this case. It's a little bit of a smaller case, but the good thing is it's a good starter case because with the power, you don't need to worry about trying to figure out which pin goes where because it's all on one connector here. And the reason why I know that is because I only have these, I got these 3 cables that were attached to the case. I got one for the HD audio, then I got the PC 3, and then I got the front panel. It's actually labeled F panel for front panel. And the other reason why I know this is it because in the top corner, or yeah, the top right corner here, there's no slot for a male pin to slide into this female connector. And right here on the motherboard, the top right is missing the pin. So that makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry about trying to figure out which pin goes where on the motherboard to figure out where the power goes for, the audio, stuff like that. So that's going to make it a lot nicer. I didn't go over the Ryzen 5 CPU. Right here's the actual CPU, but it also comes with its own fan, AMD fan. You don't need heatsink because it already comes with heatsink on it, so make sure you don't touch the back of this fan, and make sure you don't touch the front of the CPU itself, along with all the golden pins on the back side. I do have rubbing alcohol, just in case I do get fingerprints on it, but I shouldn't have to worry about it. But the other thing I want to go over right now is I'm going to put this off to the side because I did order one other thing for my setup, because for my audio, I got the Audacity AT2020 microphone, condenser microphone, and I run that right now off of a Foresight, I think it's called Foresight. Yeah, Foresight, or I don't know, Scarlett Solo. So, but anyhow, I also had the recommendation of purchasing something else for my audio, and I went ahead and got that, and it was supposed to be delivered by tomorrow, but it just got here about a half hour ago while I was tearing this apart and getting everything ready to go. But what it is, it's a compressor, all right? It's to help with the feedback on the audio. My mind just went blank of what it's called. But it's a DBX box. There we go. It's a DBX 286S, I believe it is. It's to help, like I said, with like the background noises, the noise gate. 286S, yes. So, mic preamp processor. Get this, so as you can see here. So let me go ahead and cut this off. So this is just, it's a quick, easy thing to set up. All this does is plug in for power. Then my Focusrite, that's what it is. Focusrite Scarlett Solo. That will plug in to this and USB. So let me get this out. Got the audio cables here, or power cable. And then it looks like some mounting screws if you want to mount it to something. Go ahead and throw that off to the side. So yeah, this is going to be a quick plug and play setup to go ahead and fix a little bit more sound issues, because I have I'm on a major road, and sometimes you might hear in my live streams when I'm talking some background noises like sirens from police or ambulance, fire trucks, stuff like that. And or I'm only 5 houses away from the train track, so sometimes you'll hear the train blowing its horn. So let me bring this over to you here. So right here it is, the DBX 286. So you can adjust your gain and your drive density, frequency, threshold, whole bunch of stuff right here. So like I said, on the back, my mic input, I'll plug the microphone into this, and then I'll have an output going from my Focusrite Scarlett Solo into here, into the insert here. Actually the output, and then of course you plug it in, power. It'll be going out of this to my Focusrite, and then the Focusrite is USB going to the computer. So this will help solve all the background noises that I may have either in the house within a certain dB, or even everything that's outside. So you guys shouldn't be able to hear anything else whatsoever. Trains, emergency vehicles, so on and so forth. So anyhow, that's that. I'm going to put this down here for now, push it underneath the table, because now it's time to get back to this. So let me go ahead. I've already got the power supply in, I've already got it plugged in. So throw this in there, get all that stuff for that out of the way, get this knife off the table, I don't need that. There we go. Alright, so got this, got the fan for the CPU, the processor right there, got my memory ready to go. So I think all I need to do now is just get strapped up, get the CPU on, get the fan on. I might have to take a look at the box here. Let me do some quick research real quick to see about these brackets to mount the fan onto. I might need to change out the brackets. So let me do that real quick. Make sure that this is set up and ready to go for everything I need, and then I'll be right back. All right, I took a look at the book. Since this is an AM4 processor, it'll work with or without these brackets, supposedly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try it with the brackets first, and if it doesn't make a proper connection down, then I'll go ahead, remove the brackets, then put the fan down. So I'm gonna leave them on for right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get strapped in real quick, so I don't have to worry about frying anything by accident. And I'll go ahead and start doing this. Alright, so I ended up having to take the actual brackets off. It just wouldn't fit on there otherwise. So I got the fan on there, the CPU's in there, the fan's on there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and get the memory put in, get the fan hooked up, get all these hooked up, then the moment of truth, power it on, and see if it all works. Alright, so I ended up having to switch out one of these cables. It was for the wrong one. I think it was for a PCI slot instead of the CPU. But yeah, I had to switch out this, which no big deal. That's why you test first. Test everything, all your connections from the power source to the motherboard. Just in case you have this hiccup, because it'd be kind of bad to get everything in there, find out you had the wrong one, and then have to tear it all back out. So I just flipped the switch on the back of the power supply. I haven't hit the power button yet. I've already got lights on the motherboard flashing, which is a good sign. I got power, that's good. So I'm gonna hit the power button here and hope that the CPU fan kicks on. And it works. Fan is on. I didn't get the RGB. Well, I thought this was RGB, but I might be wrong. The memory, I could have swore it was RGB, but I don't think it is. No. This is not RGB RAM, so the memory won't light up. But positive side is there is some glow on the motherboard itself. I'm not sure if the video card has any, but either way, there's going to be 3 RGB fans that will be putting light into the system. So I'm going to go ahead and power this off. Flip the switch on the back. I'm going to unhook this cable mainly, and actually I'm going to unhook everything. I'm going to get these little sliders here to help keep the cable nice and neat. I'm going to put it on this cable here and get the motherboard in. So, be right back. Alright, so I got everything unhooked. I did forget to mention I did have to put some more standoffs in this case. That was another reason why it was taking a little bit longer. I had to find the standoffs and get them in the right configuration for this motherboard. Wasn't too bad, but I'm about ready to drop this on in here. And I guess I probably could set the case up so that way you guys can see it, but so I don't think you guys seen the inside yet. So it is a black and red configuration here. It's got this to hide the cables. There's a hole going to the back side of the case. That's supposed to hide everything that doesn't need to be seen. So I'm going to go ahead and get strapped back up here as I go ahead and plug the machine back in. That way I'm grounded again while I go ahead and mount up the motherboard and get this taken care of. Alright, so I got it in there. It is on its center brace, so it can just stay up there as long as you bump into it. I'm going to rerun the power here. Run that up. Got twisty ties all over the floor. Go ahead and put them in there. Run this power up from the bottom. That's where the hookup is for it. See if I can get it here. There we go. And I got this for the 24 pin. Then I got the CPU coming in from the top, because up top up here is where the CPU plug is. So I'm going to let that just hang there for a second. I should have enough room for the fan to slide up underneath. I was going to put that in there first, but then I decided against that because I just wanted to make sure I had enough room for it with the motherboard. So let me get my screwdriver. I've already got all 9 of these screws for each one of the standoffs. Get them out of here. It's always nice to have a little tiny tray to put your screws and stuff in. That way they're just not rolling all over your table or counter or whatever you're using. Just keep things all nice and neat. So I'm going to go ahead and put one of these in. We shouldn't have to worry about it falling out anymore. Now I will do this like a star pattern. Just like a tire. Same with the CPU. When you go and tighten down your fan on your, or air cooling or whatever on your CPU, go in a star pattern so that way it tightens down from corner to corner instead of one side and then the other side. That way it's not lopsided. And it's top corner, top right, bottom left, then bottom right. And top left. If I can find it. There it is. It's a lot easier to do this when it's laying down, but for purposes for you guys to be able to see, you know, what's going on, I'll try to keep it to where you guys can see a little bit more. Go ahead and do a side. Now you just want to snug them down. You don't want to tighten them down too much because then you can strip out the standoffs in the back and that wouldn't be good. Here. Then one in the bottom middle. One in the top middle. Then I should have one more, which is once again down here on this side over here. Alright, so the motherboard's all in place. Now all I should need to do is I do have, I also got this cable here for the graphics. So I'm going to run that up from the bottom. Like that. And it should be. Let me see if it's the right way, so that way it's all good to go. Yeah, it's going to be like that. So what I want to do is got a couple more of these sliders here, just so that way I can try to keep things looking as nice as possible. Since it does, this case does have a tempered glass front panel. The back is just a piece of steel. So you're not going to be able to see completely through this case like you can with mine, but you will be able to see into this side of the case. There we go. It should help keep things kind of organized there. Alright, so now, just for this time only, I'm going to set the case down on its back side here. That way I can, well, actually I'll just leave it up like this. So I'll go ahead and plug the CPU in. Here, yeah, it's the right way. Kind of a pain is the angle that it's on. Something kind of tells me I should have kept this one plugged in, but actually I think I might have got it. These aftermarket cables are a nice tight fit to where kind of hard to tell that it went. Alright. But the bad thing about this, I'm going to have to keep it over to the side because the fan's going to have to get mounted. And I'll show you here in just a little bit. It's a tight fit up here. But it fits. It's plugged in. Alright. Go ahead and plug the 24 pin in. If I can. There's like no wiggle room at all. That's in. Go ahead and pull these through if I can. Alright, I think that's as good as it's going to get right there. Don't want to put too much strain on that connector. Alright, now the power. That in right there. That pulled back through. Then I got these other two cables here. I got USB 3. Make sure I get that plugged in the right way here. Now these pins, you can snap these pins off quite easily, so you got to be careful. Alright, so that's in. That cable pulled back through. Can I hide that one? I wonder if I can hide that. I don't know if I'll be able to or not. Let's see here. Kind of wondering if I can hide that behind the 24 pin, so that way it's not out in the open. It's not. There it comes. All right. Let me see if I can hide that a little bit better. There we go. So that's kind of hidden a little bit better. Yeah. So that's behind the 24 pin, so you can't even see that cable there now. Alright, so now got the front audio here. So just try to do a little bit of cable management at the same exact time, be less you got to worry about later on. Alright. And this plugged in down at the bottom left, or bottom right down here. It's my left, but your guys is right. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so that cable's there. Alright, so this audio card, or video card, my bad, audio card. It's about the same as mine for the ports in the back. You got the two HDMI. I'm gonna get it right this time. Two display ports, and one DVD-D. So that's what's on there. So now what I need to do is line this up to the PCI slot on the card, see which one of these brackets, or two of the brackets, needs to be taken out. So usually, just like any other motherboard with video, usually the second and third piece off the back here. So let me spin this around. You got 2 thumb screws right here. For the factory kind of tightened them down, so go ahead and do that. And once again, get your little thing here, Tupperware thing. Oh, that one was kind of loosened. Yep, it was. That off. And all it is just a little slider here to help hold these on, even though there are still 2 screws on here. You still have to take out. And you want to hold on to these screws too, because you're going to need them to hold the graphics card in. One. There's 2. So in this case, they just pop right on out. I wanted to make sure I had a case where there's some cases with these brackets on the back, you actually got to twist them and pull them and do everything else and actually try to snap them off. So you want to make sure you get a case, which, like I said, this is a good starter case. You don't have to worry about that. You just take the screws out and they come right on out. So now, if I go ahead and line up the graphics card here on the inside, should be able to snap right on in, like so. Alright, so then just take the 2 screws you just took out, put one up here, and then just put them right back into place. Now once again, you just kind of snug them down. You don't want to over tighten them. Strip them out that way. Alright, so there we go. There's that. And the 2 thumb screws here. And slide this back into place. One in there. The bottom one started. And then, like I said, there's thumb screws, so you don't need to have the screwdriver to put them back in. Just kind of just hand tighten them in and voila. So, alright. So now, this is what we're looking like here. So all I gotta do is just take the PCI, plug it on in, try to feed the excess through here. Kind of almost need a couple more of them connectors, so I'm going to go ahead and get some of them, like the sliders, and see, where did I put those? Ah, they're over here. Got things scattered all over. I'm working out of my kitchen. It's the brightest area I can work out of, so for those who watch my renovation videos knows how the lighting is in this kitchen, so it's like a perfect spot to work in right now. I just wish I had a higher table. That way you can see me a little bit better while I'm working on this. So now this is what we're looking like here. Alright, got my CPU fan. I don't have the fan at the top yet. It just has the NXT fan on the back. I got the video card, graphics card, whatever you want to call it. And been trying to get these things to stay. I'm gonna have to work with these cables a little bit better here, but for the most part, they're pretty decent. So, got that in place. Got 24 pin. I got the USB 3 tucked in behind the 24 pin because there's two ports for USB 3. So I got that hidden behind that. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I see the battery's almost dead on this thing, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on the charger while I do some cable management in the back. And I also have the Commander Pro and RGB hub to go ahead and place in the back. And I also got to find the placement for the 3x5 hard drive, the 1 terabyte, and the SSD hard drive as well. So once I get all that done, hopefully there's enough juice to finish up the rest of the build. So I will see you guys in just a little bit. Alright guys, so I had time to let the camera recharge. I did a little bit of cable management. Sorry, it's a little shaky. But I did a little bit of cable management. I've already got this fan up here mounted. I don't know if you can really see that or not, but you can see how tight that was up in there. I was talking about the CPU cable right there, right next to that fan. I got that one mounted. I need to take these two thumb screws out, and this bracket here comes out to mount these fans onto, so that way they can get mounted up to the front. In the back here, I've got the RGB hub and the fan hub already hooked in, SATA power. I took the two SSD bays off of here, and I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me try to move this around here. Hold on just a second. Whoopsie-daisy. Try to get in the light for you guys. Alright, so now you can see a little bit better. The two bays here were for SSD. I just took them off. I actually have the 3x5 Western Digital Black 1 terabyte down here, and then the SSD I've actually mounted with double-sided tape on top of that bracket, so that way they both can use the same power, and then run the SATA out of here to the motherboard, up and through, either way, whichever works. Did a little bit of cable management, as you can see here already. I got, these are for the fans. I got the one, this one here is for the back fan, just a 3-prong, that's just for power, and then the RGB and power for the fan up top. So I still need to mount the two fans for the front, and then got to see where those cables, like how far those cables can make it, so that way I know which device needs to go on the left and which one can go on the right. So let me remount the camera and we'll get into that real quick. Alright, so got the front two fans mounted, got the top fan mounted, back fan is also here. So these ones I don't really need a label because I can obviously see which side of the case they're coming from. Up here, it's a whole different story. I got fan 1 marked with 1 tie, like twist tie, and then I got fan 2 marked with 2 twist ties. So that way I knew exactly which fan is which, so when I go to plug it in, it can be in sequential order 1, 2, 3. So now I need to figure out what the best way of routing these cables over, which I could probably run them up and behind these cables through this tray here and then down, while these ones cut through the tray up top and then down. Either that, or I might just run it down the side here with these ones and then over. Either way, I'll probably put the RGB hub here and then the fan hub right here next to it. So let's go ahead and do that. First I want to get the SATA cables plugged up to both the hard drives and to the motherboard, and then I'll run the fans. All right, so got the cable management done. Got all the fans plugged in. Now, time for the moment of truth. Let's go ahead and flip her around here. Plug it in. And we got lights. Alright, so as you can see the top fan, you can't see them from the front. It's the only bad thing, cannot see them from the front. But like I said, it is a tempered glass side panel, so you should be able to see them right straight through. The bad thing is, I'm going to have to rewire these because this fan down here is actually number 1, not number 2. So it's actually going there to there and then up to there. But that's an easy fix. I can get that within a minute. So all I gotta do is just push some of these cables back down through here, and yeah, that is my second PC I ever built by myself, all by myself, and it's completely operational. So, and this time it only took me one day instead of throughout the week. So, that is going to conclude this PC build. Like I said, this is for my son, so that way he's got a nice gaming setup. This should be plenty for what he needs. I'm going to get the other, I'm going to turn this off first. I'm going to switch those two fans around, and I'm going to get the tempered glass on the front, the back panel on, and you guys will see it in its full glory here in just a minute. Alright, so I got it all put back together, got it plugged back in, got the tempered glass put back on the front. As you can see right through there, which is nice. And then got the back, fits on there nice and flush. It's not bowed out any from all the stuff I put in there. So that means cable management and everything else is good to go. So let me go ahead and fire it up. And I also got the fans put back in the right order. So if you look, it'll go red, 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 blue, 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 green, 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 purple, 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 you know, up and around. So I got it all in the right order. So that means I should be able to go ahead and peel her on off. And there she is. So nice red and black with a little bit of silver in there, white. All goes good with the lighting, and this will look pretty good at night too, probably. Let me go ahead and test it out here. Turn this light off. Turn that light off. It doesn't have much RGB like mine does, but I'm sure he will be satisfied with how this looks. So like I said, you can't see anything from the front, so he could, well, you can see it underneath a little bit here, but other than the top and the side here, he could even leave this on at night and it shouldn't phase him any. And you can kind of see it through the back there as well. But yep, so there we go, computer number 2. So get the lights turned back on. So yeah, I could probably just go ahead and pitch that one. Don't need it anymore. It's not even really good for parts. So the only thing that really saved me on that one time was a SATA cable. But so anyhow, that is going to conclude this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little bit more in depth with the build than compared to last time. The last time it was my very first PC build ever. Looks like I need to push that back in. Push that cable back down in so that way it's tighter of a loop going back in. But last time was my very first PC build ever, so I didn't really do too much step by step. This one was a little bit easier of a build. Not really too much. Skip a couple steps with using this CPU. You didn't have to use a heat sink for one. And two, it was pretty much common sense on how to put the fan on. Mine was a little bit more in depth. But if you guys missed my last PC build, right here it is. It's a little bit more in depth. But if you guys missed that one, you guys are more than welcome to go ahead and see that video as well. You can see it's see-through on this side too. You can see everything that's going on in the back. So, but anyhow, that is going to conclude this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully my son enjoys this. So I'm going to be out of town this weekend, so there'll be no live streams. I'm going to try to get this video here edited and uploaded tomorrow, which is Thursday the 10th, because Friday I'm leaving town. So I hope everybody has a good weekend. If I don't get a live stream in tomorrow, I hope everybody has a good weekend. Please be safe. Watch out for yourselves. Watch out for everybody. And hope to see you guys all in the next video and or live stream. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good day. Whenever you're watching this, have a good day. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click that little bell notification so that way you're notified whenever I'm posting something or going live. Alright? Yep. Peace.